Hey, welcome back to Girl Chat Sports. It's episode 39. I'm sitting here with the lovely
Stephanie.
And I'm Melissa. We're here to obviously talk a little sports with you today. We have a fun host later on, or a fun guest host, I apologize. The second half of the show, we've got Mike from the 1MicWithBigMike. That's the number one, MicWithBigMike. He's got a podcast. He actually goes live Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. So we'll be chatting with him a little bit later. But we're going to talk a little bit about the football. You guys, there's only 1 week left.
The season is coming to an end.
We are less than a week away from no more football. Well, technically, there could be a little ray of sunlight for a few weeks in our football forecast. I'm talking about Spring League.
Spring League.
I don't know if you heard about it, Steph. So Spring League's not affiliated with the NFL per se, but it does give former NFL draft picks the shot to display their talents and for NFL teams to send out scouts and to watch the games. So
for free, they will be playing for free.
For free, not paid. But we're talking about guys like Johnny Manziel, Ray Rice, so guys that have had some troubled past that are having a hard time getting back, troubled, I use lightly, getting back into a team and getting, contracts and stuff. It looks like your boy Greg Hardy is also interested, of course. I don't know if there's going to be like a side mob of police officers swarming the places where they're going to be staying at for these 3 to 4 weeks, but it should be interesting. So, yeah, Greg Hardy, Kellen Winslow.
Training starts April 5th. They'll play 6 games during a 3-week time frame, so it'll give us something to do.
Yeah, they're going to be out in West Virginia in Greenbrier Resort. So there'll be 4 teams that'll play a total of the 6 games. So it should be interesting. I'm definitely, it'll be nice to hopefully watch sports. I'm going to guess it's going to be like on ESPN2, or I'm hoping, because I don't know where else I'd find it. I hope it's just not going to be like a YouTube type of thing. But I'm definitely excited for Spring League, although that still leaves me with the rest of February, March to still deal without football withdrawals.
It's true.
Yeah, well, this last Sunday we had the Pro Bowl. I was excited only because it went back to the AFC-NFC format, which I really enjoy because being with the NFC now, I don't want other players playing with my players. No, but I think it's more enjoyable. I think, you kind of get that bond you get from the NFC guys and the AFC guys, and they spend time together, and they have like the whole week out there in Orlando. I know Michael Bennett and a couple other guys, they did the whole Disney World tour and had a big fun out there. But speaking of the Seahawks and also your Cowboys, there was a lot of participation from our guys.
Yeah. Actually, it was really fun to watch this year. I feel like they had a lot more activities where they, caught footballs from a drone and trying to dunk footballs in a basketball hoop. So it was really fun to kind of just see them hanging out and having a good time.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Cowboys had 7 guys there, as well as the coach, of course. Not Jerry Jones, Jason Garrett. They were there. Seattle, we had 7 guys. Doug Baldwin had his very first Pro Bowl as he took place for, I believe it was Larry Fitzgerald. He actually was the only scorer by the NFC, and he hauled in a 47-yard touchdown, which was awesome. Of course, Richard Sherman had an interception, and we had some great defensive plays by both Michael Bennett and Bobby Wagner. So I was really proud of my guys. Even though we weren't in the big game, this was still a good showing of them.
I will say that they kept Dallas players strategically out of harm's way for this game. Elliott just had 8 carries for 20 yards, and Prescott attempted just 13 passes. So I think that was purposeful by Jerry Jones to just keep them healthy.
Right. And the other little perk for the Pro Bowl, along with, I'm sure, all the swag bags or the free goodies, is that the winners all get $61,000 apiece. The losers all get $30,000. So no matter what, you're walking away with a couple handfuls of some $100 bills.
Yeah, well, Bills linebacker Lorenzo Alexander and Kels were named the most valuable players, and they each got new cars.
Oh, wow. I wonder what cars, do they know what they got?
I don't know, but I guess it pays to be the best in the Pro Bowl.
Well, Travis Kelce did have a couple really good plays. He also had a couple good poses. He did the Heisman pose. He did a leap in the touch for his touchdown. He also did this new salt bay. The guy that does the salt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they actually have Bitmojis of him now. So if any of you are on Bitmoji, make sure you check out that as well.
I will say that I was a little disappointed that there weren't as many Odell Beckham hijinks as I expected.
You didn't like his 5-minute dance-a-thon?
I laughed so hard when he had a dance-off with the Colts mascot. It was so funny. He went on and on in that dance-off.
Well, he actually started it by himself first. They were sitting on the sideline, or not sitting on the sideline, but he was actually on field for plays, and it was hilarious that he kept dancing, and then all of a sudden Blue came out, and they started going out together. So that was very entertaining. I think the Pro Bowl did a good job at entertaining. I don't think that they had as many viewers as usual, because I do still believe the Pro Bowl should be after the Super Bowl, only because there are players, obviously, in the Super Bowl that get selected for the Pro Bowl and then end up not being able to come. And then there's players that just don't want to play in the Pro Bowl just in case they do get injured, and they don't want to have to deal with that for the next coming season too. So in other football news, I'm not sure if you had a chance to catch it or not, but Marshawn Lynch, keeps his retirement happy. This guy had a whole video that I'm guessing it was sponsored by Skittles, because we know how much he loves Skittles. He literally brought the beast mode to Houston, Scotland, to tell these guys about the Super Bowl in Houston, Texas. And when I tell you, there was a girl that had said that it's ridiculous o'clock, and he goes, "Is that really it?" He's giving her shit, and it's hilarious. And then he's talking to a guy about a castle, and he's like, "Wait, 1100? That's super old." He was doing he was popping collars, getting hyphy. I swore he did the Tootsie Roll at some point when he was on the bagpipes. Marshawn's hilarious. And after his whole episode he had on that Bear Grylls show, or the nature guy, I really believe that Marshawn Lynch needs his own show.
I agree.
Marshawn,
right.
If you were to come across our show, we would love to just have you have your own show. I'm sure he's got to get offers. He has to. That would be an awesome show.
He's making more money talking now than he was not talking.
Most definitely. And I'm glad he's talking. I love hearing him talk now. It's hilarious. So that's been interesting. Other quick bits of NFL news. So there's a question about Teddy Bridgewater missing the entire 2017 season. We know he tore his ACL, dislocated his left knee back in August of last year, missed the entire season, and now it's unclear as to when he may come back.
Yeah, they said he might need at least 19 months to heal.
That is so crazy. In some random NFL news, so Fox analysis John Lynch, who has been in the booth literally for the last, since 2008, he's now the GM for the 49ers. So I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. It seems like it's a worse thing for the Niners, because you're having a guy who's never served in the head office of a football franchise, now you're general manager. So
I'm not sure if it can get any worse for the Niners.
Well, no. At least they could possibly have, Kyle Shanahan as their coach, which would be a good thing, especially since he's coming from the Falcons, and they are a Super Bowl team now. So we shall see how that unfolds for the Niners. You never know.
Michael Vick is officially retiring.
Listen, as a firm believer, and I love dogs and all animals, I also love Michael Vick.
I agree. I am a dog lover. I feel like he did his time. And of course it was a horrendous thing, but I've always been a fan of him.
But here's the deal. Michael Vick's money did most of this. And the thing is that there was a bunch of hands in this pot that took part in this whole dog fighting and all that kind of stuff that took place. He did serve his time. He actually went to prison. Some of these guys that are beating their wives up or whatever else on the side, they don't even put one foot in a jail cell. So I really give it up for Michael Vick. He tried coming back. He did play some. I still am a Vick fan. With or without the dog issues.
But he's going to have his official retirement party at the Groves in Houston the night before the Super Bowl.
Well, that's going to be a damn good party. Dang it, we're missing out again. On to a little college football. There's just a couple of things. So the Senior Bowl was on Saturday. Last year, me and the previous host, we took a trip out to Mobile, Alabama, and got to see the Senior Bowl firsthand live. Got to meet some of the guys, including like Dak Prescott and Carson Wentz and a few of the guys that were there. You know, I watched it this year for a little bit, like 1 or maybe 1.5 quarters. I didn't feel as interested in it. I feel like there was a lot of guys that are big names that didn't come to the Senior Bowl because they were holding out for the draft and for combines, which is unfortunate. They did have, I think, one really big star, Zay Jones, so he's someone to look out for. But other than that, I don't know, did you catch the Senior Bowl at all?
I did not see it.
Yeah, so sorry, Reese's. I will say this, is that both Orlando and Mobile, Alabama, which usually have pretty good weather around this time, both had terrible weather for the weekend in sports. Mobile, it was cloudy, I think in like 50. Orlando, it had been raining all weekend and was like 50. So I'm kind of glad that we didn't go out for some of these sports things. We got to stay here when it was nice and 60 and sunny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today's National Signing Day.
Woo!
So some big picks.
You could explain that a little bit too. So National Signing Day is when high schoolers are basically acknowledging where they're going for college, for football.
Right.
Well, for all sports, but it's National Football Signing, yeah.
For sure. Tell us who the big schools or big picks were for some of these schools.
Well, of course, Alabama got the #1 recruiting class for this year. They have some huge picks coming. I mean, we're talking like 5-star athletes. And so they've actually been the #1 recruiting class 5 of the last 6 years. And we wonder why Alabama stays being in the national championship. Right. They were followed by, depending on who you talk to, in regards to, Alabama did get Najee Harris, who we can talk a little bit about him later on in regards to the awe moments. But Najee Harris is actually spent time in California and as well as Seattle, which was interesting. So he'll be going to Alabama. We also got Georgia had a great recruiting class, Michigan, Ohio State. USC had like 2 5-star recruits within 5 minutes signed, which was amazing. And then there's Washington, my alumni. We had 17 prospects that are assigned, even one from Australia, I believe. But we were only ranked in about the top 20, or actually number 20 of rankings for recruiting classes. So that should be interesting. One funny one, though. There's linebacker Levi Jones. He's a 4-star athlete. He basically had like 3 shirts on. He had a Florida State shirt on. He had a Florida shirt on. And then underneath both those, he had the USC shirt.
Yeah, I saw that. He was stripping down. Next surprise, and he ended up putting a USC hat on and saying, "Fight on."
Yeah, it's crazy. USC actually had some really good recruits, and they're going to have a strong team next year. So as a Pac-12 member, I am a little bit nervous, but I have faith in Chris Peterson and what my Washington boys will be doing. So good luck to all those, and congratulations to all those that did sign and have chosen their school today.
Did you hear that Stanford is going to be playing in Australia? One of their games is actually going to be August 27th, and they're going to be playing Houston in Sydney.
Really?
Yeah, all these college teams going across the country to play
because Michigan was going to be over. Where were they at? We talked about it last week. Michigan was going
England
to
or somewhere. Wasn't
it?
It must be nice.
Yeah, it must be nice, man. I wish, man. What's crazy is that, just to go back to NFL real quick, the Raiders actually were announced to host the Patriots in Mexico next year as well. So that should be interesting. I haven't been watching college hoops because really I only have 1 week left to embrace all of football. But for the men, we still got, actually Villanova got beat twice. So we've got Gonzaga now at first, Baylor, Kansas, Villanova, Arizona. My guys at Washington are at the bottom of the Pac-12. And the guys here at UNLV are also at the bottom of the Mountain West. So nothing to send home and brag about.
The Zags are unbeaten, though, 22-0.
I'll take some credit for that. They're a Washington team still. Right. So go Gonzaga. They've always been good, though. They've been doing great forever. Since John Stockton.
There's been a lot of upsets this season, or even in just January alone, of the top 25 teams. They were defeated 16 times. So definitely a crazy thing that all these great teams are supposedly great teams have been losing. It's weird.
Well, and of course, your guy Grayson Allen's still in the news. I mean, he had a technical foul versus Wake Forest player on Saturday after jawing with him. And then again on Monday, there was this tripping controversy against Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I can't believe this guy. Someone needs just to slap the shit out of his ass. That's what he needs. He needs a good one of those. So, anyways, women's basketball, of course, UConn's still up there. I believe they had, they're at 95 or some straight wins by now. Baylor, Maryland, South Carolina, and Mississippi State. Carolina and Mississippi State has switched. Washington actually has gone down. They went from 7th to 10th place in the top 25, and they're now number 3 in the Pac-12. So, sounds like there might have been a little trouble with the Huskies. Hopefully, the ladies are getting it back together. And then the Lady Rebels here at UNLV, they are 4th in the Mountain West. So.
Go Lady Rebs.
Go Lady Rebs. Go Gonzalez twins. We still love you guys. So, gosh, what else? Before we take our break and get to our guest host. Oh, gosh, the NBA. There's so much going on. I don't know what it is. I mean, we got Jimmy Butler and Dwayne Wade. They both got benched on Friday for those disciplinary reasons of, just acting
talking crap about their team.
Yeah, pretty much. And they got benched for it. So, haha. James Harden, I mean, this guy, I knew he was good last year too, but he was not as good as he is this year. I mean, this guy, 51 points, 13 rebounds, 14 assists over the 76ers on Friday, and then becomes the first player in NBA league history. That's right. So not LeBron, not Michael Jordan, not Kobe. It is James Harden was the first player in the NBA league history to record 2 50-point triple-doubles.
It's crazy.
Amazing. Whew. And then we've got this whole LeBron and Charles Barkley controversy, which I think we're going to talk a little bit with our guest host later. But, LeBron and Chuck have been throwing a little banter back and forth. Even Dwayne Wade had chimed in at some point, basically saying that, hey, Chuck, if you have flaws of your own and it's worse than the ones you're talking about, maybe you should just shut up. So
speaking of controversy,
yeah.
The NBA has concerns regarding President Trump's controversial executive order. Actually, the LA Lakers forward Luol Deng and Milwaukee Bucks center Thon Maker are both from South Sudan.
Yeah.
So they actually went as far as to contact the State Department in search of clarity regarding traveling for when they go to Toronto to play. Like, are they going to be able to come back? I mean, South Sudan became an independent country in 2011. So Sudan is on one of the 7 Muslim-laden countries that's included in the ban. South Sudan is not. So I really appreciate that the NBA has shown full support for their team members. It says the NBA is a global league, and we are proud to attract the very best players from around the world. So it's good to see they have their support.
Yeah, and that, of course they're going to have their support. It's just tough because, it is almost the trade deadline will be coming up closer to the end of the month. And what if Lu Deng or one of the other guys gets traded to the Toronto Raptors or something like that? I mean, that could pose some harsh issues later on. We all know that, the Raptors aren't really good enough to make it to the finals this year, so there won't be much of a need to have to travel out to Toronto too often. But it's interesting to see how it will play out.
Yeah, well, it's already affecting us. Yahoo reports that 2 U.S.-born players playing professionally overseas are now stranded in Dubai because apparently Iran issued a retaliatory ban on the U.S. citizens entering the country. So we've got 2 U.S.-born players that are stuck in Dubai because of this retaliatory ban.
Well, and then me and you, we went and saw the U.S. men's national team at the soccer bar here at McMullen's Bar here in Las Vegas, over off of Tropicana and Decatur. They have a cute little back bar that's just for soccer. So there's a whole band of guys that are part of this league for the U.S. men's national team. We watched them play their game, and we tried to brush up on a little bit of soccer because we both are a little unsure as to I guess, the rules and regulations. But it's interesting because, when we have the MLS coming back again in May, and even for regular games, like I think next week is the Mexico and is it Iceland?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of these guys, not from Sudan necessarily, but maybe could any of these players that we get in any of the teams for MLS could be from some of these countries, and we don't know kind of how that's going to be.
Yeah, I guess
So.
we'll have to see.
Should be interesting. Anyways,
We have a special guest.
Yay!
And actually, we will be special guests on his show as well.
Yeah, you'll have to check out his show as well, but we will be right back with One Mic with Big Mike. All right?
Dr. EJ's Fitness Bootcamp provides text weight loss coaching, meal reminders, and workouts sent to your phone. Never forget to eat again. Here's Dr. Ebony January to tell you more about it.
I was motivated by my patients and colleagues to develop this program. I realized how weight affected my practice and limited the things that I could do for my patients. So I started giving my patients and others tips and suggestions on eating right. They loved it. The problem, however, was follow-up. I knew that I couldn't be with my patients and friends 100% of the time. So I thought about how I could help patients become healthier, stay on top of them, all while being a busy physician. I realized that the best way to coach them through this process was through text. With my program, I literally text you when and what to eat several times per day, along with specific workouts. I call it text coaching.
You can go to our website at www.drej, that's DOCTOREJ.com, or follow her on YouTube at Dr. EJ, Instagram at Dr. EJ Bootcamp, or on Facebook at Dr. EJ.
Hey,
how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, I'm good. You guys are on the One Mic with Big Mike show right now.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, welcome to GirlChatSports. We got you on the line. For our listeners, we're recording, so we're just jumping you right into the gun. We're not really doing a little intro or nothing, so we'll see how that goes.
That's right.
How's the show been going so far? I caught the last part of it with Mr. Hamilton. Sound like a pretty good intro. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he made it good. Glad you heard that because you don't want to just hear me.
Well, I enjoyed that. I actually looked him up and didn't realize that he had actually been drafted by my Seahawks. So any Seahawk draftee is a friend of mine.
Well, they didn't draft him. He was an undrafted free agent, and they cut him loose and sent him over to Europe. So they shipped him out.
Well, it happens, So anyway.
What's good, y'all? What's happening?
Well, we're just sitting here. We saw you. We wanted to talk with you. I mean, I think our major question, I'm sure you've already divulged into this a little bit in your show so far, is obviously you're in Atlanta. Are you pro Falcons, or what's your take on the Super Bowl?
Oh, I haven't talked to anybody about Super Bowl.
Oh, you haven't? Are you like a superstitious or what?
No. I'm just not. I'm not a fan in the sense. I'm a fan of sports, and even growing up here in Atlanta Falcons fans at a very young age showed me why I did not want to be a Falcons fan, and because I like the team and I like to watch the team, but so many people who grew up with family members who were emotionally invested in the team, they were never satisfied. They were always mad and always down talking the team. Like my dad wasn't a sports guy; he just worked. So I didn't get any of that ire from him and that vitriol toward the team. I just liked the team, but I was like, if I got to do that to be a fan of this team, I'm good. I'm cool. So
Save yourself the heartache.
Yeah, I'm torn a little bit because I want something to be able to talk about the Monday after. I don't care about who wins. I think Roger Goodell having to give that Super Bowl trophy to Robert Kraft and Belichick and maybe a MVP trophy to Tom Brady is awesomely awkward to me.
With a lump in his throat.
But my city wants this. My city wants this championship, man. Regardless of the people here and people how they are sports fans, and I criticize them a lot. And I talk about the low sports IQ. They want it. They want something to celebrate. They want that parade. And as an Atlantan, I want it for them. I want to see that come here.
Well, we want it for him. I want it for Dan Quinn, and I want it for our ex-Seahawk. But I also want it because you guys, as a city, have only had one championship compared to I think New England the whole Massachusetts. They've won like 32, I think, championships over the course of how many years and decades. I mean, it's time for you guys. I hope the Falcons win. I want the Falcons to win.
We're rooting for the underdog.
Okay, so now what we got to do, we got to decipher the eyes. Like, who is the eye with the Seattle? Because I feel.
Oh, Melissa. Yeah,
Okay,
Melissa, diehard Seahawks. Yes.
And who else are we with?
This is Stephanie, and I'm a Cowboys fan.
Oh, sorry about this, Stephanie. And I'm not even clowning you. I used to be a Cowboys fan. I used to claim the Cowboys, but this Jason Garrett thing is a ridiculous situation. I think he's an empty suit, and he's very, very fortunate to be in the position that he's in. And I couldn't find myself like justifiably rooting for the team because I'm not a dude that ever said somebody should be fired. I hate that whole concept of they need to fire that guy because no one fires that dude when my fries are cold at McDonald's. You know what I mean? So just arbitrarily think someone needs to be fired when it's going to affect him, his assistant coaches, and their families and all that. I'm not about that life. So I just stopped.
I was just going to say that we could legitimately say there's always next year and actually have hope for next year.
It's the NFL, though, when things happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Dak Prescott is not made out of Teflon. These are Ezekiel Elliott. So things happen. So that whole notion of maybe there's next year, I've talked to a couple of NFL guys on my team who lost Super Bowls here in Atlanta, and I asked them that same question, like, how did you feel? You feel like, all right, we know how it is now. And to a man, they were like, man, we blew it. Because they realized the team that you see this year won't be the team that you see next year. And, of course, there's more film on guys like that. There's more film on guys like Zeke. And the guys who call plays on defense and play defense, they get paid money too. And it's their job to catch up to the guys who are ahead of them. So, I understand the optimism because the NFL is full of it. But I also understand that year to year, it's a real crazy situation. The Falcons 8-8 last year.
Well, they can have a little bit more optimism this year because, last year they really had no hope. And to go into it knowing that Tony Romo was going to save your day again obviously wasn't going to work. So I don't like the Dallas Cowboys whatsoever, but obviously having young, healthy talent currently is one thing in their favor. But again, I think your Jason Garrett point was pretty on point because he really is just a puppet for Jerry Jones. I didn't even know that Jason Garrett was the coach of the team probably until 2 or 3 years in.
Yeah, he's just bad, man. He has no awareness of anything that's going on the football field at all. You look up to the sideline, what are you doing? Clapping and slapping people on. He's like a paid cheerleader, a male cheerleader. Which, by the way, what do you guys think about that?
Male cheerleaders?
Yeah. Isn't it like the whole cheerleader situation in football still one of those last standing bastions of sexism?
As a woman, I can tell you this. I don't want to go to a football game looking at male cheerleaders. So I think the female part of it, I think there's a lot of men that still go to games and like to be entertained by women that are cheerleading on the sides. I don't want to see a man cheering on the sides. I want to see a man in a uniform playing the game.
And this is Stephanie, and I'm going to say equal opportunity cheerleaders. Put some men out on the field.
I used to actually produce a show for a dude that does radio here in Atlanta. That used to be a male cheerleader for the Baltimore Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a manly man. He served a couple tours in Iraq. He's that guy, but he used to be a cheerleader. So it's not like I don't know if there's anything too feminizing about it. It's one of those weird things that's come up in conversation with other people. And I know I probably derailed your entire situation now, but
no, I think for me it's not so much a feminine, like there's making them more feminine. I just think for me personally, I'm going to a game to watch football as a woman who loves sports. I'm not going to go check out the guys in cheer uniforms. I'm watching, the arms and the, whatever you want to call it, of the guys playing the game, not necessarily the ones cheering, holding up signs and raising flags around. So.
Yeah.
So we're out in Las Vegas and, of course, legal betting here. And we were taking a look at some of the strangest prop bets for the Super Bowl. We want to share some strange things that you can bet on.
Well, first, have you ever been out to Las Vegas? Have you witnessed what what either a March Madness or a Super Bowl weekend is like in Vegas ever? Because it can be kind of crazy.
I haven't, man. My former co-host goes out there a lot for the fights. He's a big fighting fan. Guy I used to do a show with here in Atlanta. He goes out there a lot for the fights. So he told me a lot, but I haven't found my way out there just yet.
Well, it's pretty crazy. I mean, Super Bowl alone, I think, second to New Year's or second to March Madness. March Madness is like a whole month of people flying in and out of town just to, party or watch sports and basketball all month long. But yeah, there are part of a fun for us is that we could actually go into the sports, because I know there's illegal betting, of course, but as far as us living here in Las Vegas, we do get to enjoy some of the prop bets, which are pretty interesting. A couple of them, how many times will Gisele Bündchen be shown on TV or the broadcast? There was, what did you find over there?
Man, how many times will Gronk or Gronkowski be said in the whole TV broadcast?
Or how many times will Deflate or Deflategate be said by the announcers?
They even have where you can bet on how many times Trump will be either spoken about in the broadcast and who will Donald Trump pick to win the game.
I think we know what that one's going to be.
His buddy.
The odds on that one's not going to be too good to make no money off of, I can tell you that.
I got to bet like $1 million to bet one.
Right, exactly. There's also, I thought it was funny, the Houston, we have a problem. How many times will that be used during the live broadcast?
But you can bet on other things like in the game, heads or tails. Will Malcolm Butler intercept a pass? Will either team score 3 straight times? The length of the first reception by Chris Hogan. So there's some really, you could make some money off of these games.
And some of the bets,
yeah. Years ago in that Seahawks game.
How
they get the first score? Was that the Seahawks game? It
was. It was the Seahawks game. It was against the Broncos. Yeah.
I think somebody cleaned up against that too.
Yeah, the safety.
There's actually a guy out here. I forgot his name. He's on Instagram. He's huge in betting out here. But he actually put down, I think, like 2 or 4 million last year on the Super Bowl. This year he had bet the Falcons to start with, and the odds to that I think were like 20-something to 1. So he's in, and he had put down like 2 or 3 million on that. So he's going to be cleaning up. He cleaned up for the NFC Championship, and he'll be doing it again most likely for Super Bowl, I'm hoping. Crazy.
You got that much money that you can just play with it like that.
Man.
I don't know that I'd be in that club. If I had that money, I wouldn't want to play around with losing it. I don't know, but I guess it's the Vegas life, huh?
Well, I think it's the whole part of betting, Part of betting is you got to play to win, and some of these guys play pretty hard.
No, I got to go check my lotto tickets.
That's one thing we don't have. We don't have the lotto. Huh?
You don't need it.
I miss scratch tickets.
Are you guys going to, once or if this Raiders thing happens, going to, switch your loyalties? Is going to be a Raiders fandom?
I will never switch my loyalty. I'll never switch my loyalty, but I have contemplated the idea of working on season tickets so that I can see because the Seahawks always play the Raiders, usually in preseason. So at least getting to see one game at home with my team would be nice. But I'm supportive of the Raiders coming here. I'm not a Raiders fan, but I also don't hate them. So
yeah, we just want NFL in our city, and to be honest, we will support them because they'll be playing here and they'll be representing Las Vegas, but no alliance will be switched.
There'll be no Raiders gear in my closet, let's put it that way.
All we want is a team, even if we have to steal it.
Hey, you know what? As a Seattle local, I've had that happen to me, and it's not fun. But at the same time, if you're not doing what you have to do to keep them, that happens. But I think the Sonics were actually stolen a little harder than Oakland. Oakland's had some time, and from what I hear, it wasn't until as of late that Ronnie Lott and his people wanted to start doing something about it. So, I don't know.
It might not happen now because they got investors that are pulling out.
Oh, definitely.
Promising the money. They're pulling out now, so it's like I called it in the first segment of the show. It's like getting a divorce but still having to live with the person that you divorced because you don't have anywhere else to go. It feels like that in Oakland to me. They're supposed to be going, but why are you still here? Every time I go to the refrigerator, I got to see you. Got to worry about eating your food. You got to put your name on your food now. Weird stuff,
Like when your job says that you have a week left in your contract or something, you don't want to wait there no more. I mean, the thing is that Adelson pulled out. We're not still sure the details as to why he would want to. It sounds like he wasn't included on some meetings and some lease, going over the lease options and stuff, which maybe he kind of got a sour taste in his mouth about. So he pulled out, and I don't think what the city of Las Vegas or the rest of the people that were involved in this knew was that Goldman Sachs, the bank that was kind of going to be backing them as well, was only going to be in it if Adelson was. So hashtag the power of Adelson.
Yeah.
The power of the Sands Corporation.
I just don't know if there's anybody in Vegas outside of, casino owners that have that sort of clout to make it happen now.
Yeah. It's not going to be us.
Done? Is it done deal?
I mean, they're still looking at other options. They're not counting it completely over with, but it did put a definite, it took them 2 steps back, let's say that.
The NFL is such a mafia organization. Like, I can't stand the way, like, they hold fan bases hostage. Like, you got billionaires. You know what? Build your own damn stadium.
Yeah.
You got billions of dollars. What you still trying to get money from other people for? Like, that's just such a microcosm of what America is. It's like, we'll trick these poor people into thinking we really, really love them and need them. And then when they don't give us what we want, say goodbye. Like,
well, I think what killed me too is that right after this happened, then you hear the news that, the San Diego has now sent an offer out like, hey, well, if you don't go to Las Vegas, you're welcome to come to San Diego. Well, why would they want to go there? You guys just got rid of your team. Like, you couldn't support your own team. Why would you want another one? Immediately after, in the same fiscal year. I mean, that sounds just backwards to me, but hey.
They're even talking about maybe taking the Raiders to Santa Clara. I don't know how that'll work either.
They can't even deal with the Niners there, let alone anything else. I went to a couple games in Santa Clara for the Niners games, and they have like the worst ability to move traffic around and get in and out of those games. I think it's probably one of the worst places to watch a game. But I'm also a Niner hater, so what can I say?
Yeah, that's the hero when it is football. People will deal with anything to get some football. They look at bad Thursday night football. They look at terrible Pro Bowl football. It's just like dope. You just keep stepping on it, and it gets more diluted, and we keep shooting it, and we just keep on shooting. And they don't care. No one cares. You know what I mean? How bad it is. Roger Goodell was on his State of the League thing today, talking about how, everything is so good, and lie. They love talking about the concussion numbers going down and all that. Reported concussions.
Right.
Like, once you show me Matt Moore get his life taken on the football field by Bud Dupree and come back in the football game in one play, yeah, that's a non-reported concussion. That I thought Matt Moore was going to be dead. He came right back in the game and played quarterback, didn't he?
Sure did. And
it's all smoke and mirrors when it comes to the NFL.
Right. I know you had mentioned it, I think, either in your last cast on Monday or maybe it was for today, but I kind of wanted to get your take. I don't know if you've already addressed this earlier today in regards to the LeBron and Charles Barkley rivalry that's happening or battle.
Oh, that Charles Barkley's a clown. He's a court jester, man, and he's one of those people. I talked about it in the first segment, how he's able to get away with saying things, just the most rambunctious things, because he's in this world, I think, where he thinks people are laughing with him, and they're really just laughing at him. Just look at the way people respond to him sometimes. Oh, that's just Charles. That's just Charles being Charles. No one takes him seriously. So now, finally, when someone gets tired of that, back in my day, when I used to walk 30 miles to school, uphill,
in the snow,
in a blizzard, when people get tired of that, and somebody like LeBron James, who, let's face it, we've never seen this guy before, not as an athlete, not as a person. He is the one person, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I've never seen an athlete who has this much power, league-wide, not just within his organization, but league-wide. He's constructing collective bargaining agreements that benefit him, definitely. He's basically signing players to the team. Tristan Thompson's $85 million. I'm not mad at him, but he's Tristan Thompson. You know what I mean? J.R. Smith feeling emboldened to opt out of a contract to get a bigger one and gets it. Of course. So now, with the balance of power shifting, all these old dudes, the George Carls of the world, the Phil Jacksons of the world, the Charles Barkleys of the world. They don't know how to look at it because they've never seen it before. So it looks like whining and like he's being a punk. But all he's doing is what each one of us, me, you, both of you guys, we try to put ourselves in the best positions possible to succeed in our given field. That's all he's doing. And if he says, I need something else to be as successful as I can possibly be, and if he's in a position where he knows he can get that, wouldn't you love that at your job?
Absolutely.
Wouldn't you love to walk in and tell them, look, I got you by the balls, Mr. Owner. This is what I need. Give it to me or else.
Well, I think we all knew he had that power when he was going back. I mean, I think that was clear when he moved back to Cleveland. That was going to be what his job and role was. I don't disagree with him at all. I do find, though, that it feel like, it's kind of been like a bad, I don't know, maybe the second half of the season so far for him. We had the teams had a terrible January. There's a lot of injuries on the team. His his support of Hillary Clinton went unturned in Ohio. There's a couple other things. I mean, I think he has, valid points, but I do think, I feel like sometimes he is still hurt that his team hasn't got the extra MVP that maybe it should. I mean, the Warriors got Durant. They got a good pick at it. I mean, they got a great deal off that. What's going to be left for the Cavs? I mean, they're really reaching for Carmelo. I don't know if Carmelo is the answer for them.
Well, they're working out Lance Stevenson, Kirk Heinrich, and Mario Chalmers right now, talking to Deron Williams.
Ooh, all four of those names just gave you chills. You mean they can get Lance Stevenson? Ooh, Mario Chalmers. Is his Achilles even healed? That'd be interesting. Whatever. Like, this is all, at this point, this is now Dan Gilbert understanding what part of the game he's in. The part where now he gets to be the sympathetic figure in the media, where people start feeling sorry for the billionaire owner. Not this guy. Look, dude, you knew what deal you were signing when LeBron came back. Because it wasn't going to be easy. You don't get to write the letter that you wrote and have this guy come back in town, get this team a championship, and now act like you're the victim, like you're not supposed to cow down and bow down to him. Look, I'm all about the NBA, and here's why. Because this is the one league where the players understand that they are the commodity. Nothing moves without them. In all these other leagues, the NFL especially is so terrible at it. These players, Antonio Brown, Steelers, he's totally outplayed his contract in Pittsburgh. So last year, they asked him, is he going to hold out? Same thing with Rob Gronkowski. Are you going to hold out? Because you have a bunch of leverage on your side. Guys are suspended. You're the only viable option. Nah, I'm going to come to work. Really? Okay, fast forward a year. What's happening in the media now with Antonio Brown? Now all of a sudden he's this huge problem. One video turns him into a diva, and we don't know what we're going to do with him. To me, all that stuff is game plan to try to bring his value down. And this is the game that gets played in the NFL. It don't happen that way in NBA. Dudes say, I want my money. Hey, look at, what's his name? Mike Conley. Mike Conley's the highest paid player next to LeBron in the entire league. Who knows who Mike Conley is?
Wow.
Well, we do, but yeah. He's not a household name.
I'm surprised about that.
Yeah, get money, man. Let's ride. When you got the power, use it, because in our lives, all of our lives, we would love to be in their position. But what happens in fandom, people look at those people and don't understand how that can be a thing and think that something has to be wrong with it. So now I have to criticize to make myself feel better as a human. Nah, you want to be in that position. Whatever job you do, if you work at McDonald's, if you collect the trash, if you're an investment banker, whatever you do, you love to have that power. But it's easier to criticize somebody else who does have it because you don't.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, we know it's time for you to wrap up soon, but since it is National Girls and Women's in Sports Day, and we are Girl Chat Sports, we just wanted to ask you. I don't know if there's a favorite woman athlete that you have, someone that I don't know, maybe has come across your path at some point that you've enjoyed watching or talking to or hearing about.
It's not even close. It's the Williams sisters. Not even close. Like, I think I was talking about this on Monday. I think that's the greatest untold sports story in American history, probably. I know I sound like I'm being hyperbolic, but if you look at what it is, these two little black girls from Compton, whose daddy knew nothing about the sport, nothing at all, self-taught, and said, I'm going to get me and my family out of this terrible situation by teaching my girls this sport that don't necessarily come to this side of the tracks. And for those girls to turn into women who have done what they've done in that sport, like the conversation is so far gone from Serena Williams being one of the best female athletes of all time. She's got to be on that list with the Michael Jordans, with the Wayne Gretzkys, of the best athletes, period, of all time. But sometimes, it's not about who you are; it's where you come from, and that story is not as glamorous, especially when you include her dad, because of all the stuff that he brought to the table. But he just was that dude who wasn't playing that junk from the very beginning. Like all this racist stuff that y'all gonna try to come at me with when I go to Australia or when I go to England and do these tournaments, I'm not having it. My girls are gonna be out here whooping everybody's ass, and you're gonna see the end result here in a few years. And now we're seeing it now with Serena. She's at a place in amongst the sports ranks that I don't follow tennis that well, but I think period for female athletes, I don't see a female athlete reaching that or coming from where she came from and reaching the heights that she's reached ever in my lifetime again. So to answer your question, it would be both sisters though, because I think both of them can attribute certain things to the success of the other one. So both Williams sisters would be. If I had to have a favorite, me being greedy, my favorite.
Take them both, huh? Just take them both. Well, and that's great because since it's also the first day of Black History Month, so we definitely support the Williams sisters, and I actually really enjoyed your discussion in regards to them on Monday because I thought it was hilarious how you had basically put that if, the Williams father was white, he would have been Archie Manning. Like, that's clearly the case.
That's all it is. Cooper Manning, the one who no one ever hears about, he's at the Super Bowl now working for people. He's got all these
Did you see his suit his suit at the Super Bowl?
Yeah. I think he trained. He's a Manning.
Yeah.
Danny Darcy, so it's time to rock and roll.
Man.
Those Williams sisters, big Richard, that scowl on his face, never smiling, that wide-nosed black man. Nobody got time to play with that. He had a mission.
There will be a Lifetime mini-series or a BET series coming, I'm sure.
It needs to be, somebody needs to put some production value into it. I don't want to see. The last time I looked at BET, to be honest with you? Wow. How long has it been? I even stopped watching BET when they have the Martin marathons because they try to put too many commercials in it. You ever notice how Martin never starts at 2 o'clock? It starts at like 2:12 because the previous episode had like 18 minutes of commercials in it.
I mean, just watching the new edition one, I'm so glad I recorded it, DVR'd it, because there were so many commercials in that one. It was terrible.
I haven't seen that either.
Oh, you do have to see that. And if you have to pick between one of the 3 2-hour episodes, definitely choose the third one. It's the one that you're going to be probably singing and moving to, because those are good times for me, those years.
Wait a minute. Back up. And I hope I'm not holding you guys. They did 3 days of 2 hours apiece?
Yeah, well, 2 hours including all the commercials. So it's probably about an hour total. Yeah.
Shout out to BT, man. Get money, man. Get money, Bob.
Well, I mean, we'll let you go. We know you've been on for a while. We're going to continue and finish up here, but we really appreciate you joining us, and we hope we didn't, stab your audience over there too hard. But
yeah, thanks for having us.
They're probably thanking me for this.
Well, anytime.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, girls. Appreciate it.
All right, take care.
All right.
All right, so before we wrap it up ourselves, just a couple of side notes we wanted to mention. I don't know, obviously, if you guys don't live under a rock and you're on any kind of social media, you've watched this feud between Matt Barnes and Derek Fisher I wouldn't say Matt Barnes has anything over his ex-wife, Gloria Govan, the Govan sisters, those two ladies. Boy, they just run through those athletes, don't they?
Just like the Kardashians.
Just like the Kardashians, but they don't ruin their careers. Well, I guess it depends on who you talk to. Anyway, so Derek Fisher and Matt Barnes, we thought it had died down, but it kind of sparked back up. There was some exchanging of Instagram and tweets back and forth, and then just on Monday, Derek Fisher had a home invasion and had basically $300,000 worth of jewelry stolen from his home, including all 5 of his NBA championship rings. And then, of course, the internet, they're going to go crazy. They started photoshopping all 5 rings on Matt Barnes' hand in all these pictures. It was
petty.
So funny and so petty, but we loved it. And, of course, in my moment, a quick one I had mentioned before was Najee Harris, who was the number 1 recruit, and he chose it with Alabama. This guy, I don't know his full story, but it has a lot to do with, abusive childhood, stuff that he won't even talk about when he gets interviewed, homelessness, and basically him and his family, I think he has 4 younger or older siblings. They all they were homeless. They lived from shelters to hotels between the Bay Area and Seattle with their mother. She's a single parent. So his whole story was kind of awe. But my real awe, only because I have lost my own father a couple years ago, was Tom Brady. I can't stand him. I don't like him and that butt chin. But what I couldn't believe is that there was a story a little kid asked him at Super Bowl during the interviews was if he had who his hero was. And Tom Brady replied with, "My dad." So it was really cute. So shout out to Tom Brady, and that was really sweet of him, and I appreciate it. And last but not least, Arms of the NFL in a special edition of today's Arms in honor of the Super Bowl 51. Literally, we are doing arms because I don't think either one of these have great arms, but since they have great throwing arms, we've got Matt Ryan of the Falcons and Tom Brady of the New England Patriots in honor of the upcoming Super Bowl on Sunday. And then a little TBT, Thomas Jones, who is now an actor who I've found through a few friends, drafted by the Arizona Cardinals in 2000, played for the Buccaneers, Jets, and Bears, and Kansas City Chiefs. If you don't know who this person is, you got to look at LaToya Luckett's new video. This man is gorgeous and has some arms. Anyways, that's all for us tonight, guys.
Thanks for joining us.
Make sure you check us out at GirlChatSports. Find me, Melissa, at Seattle, 4_life.
And you can find me, Stephanie, at S_wash on all social media platforms.
And don't remember to check out our special guest, 1MicWithBigMike. That's the number 1, 1MicWithBigMike. He's also on Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Play Music, Blast On Demand, and also Facebook Live for his shows. Have a good night, guys. Thanks for checking out another great episode of Girl Chat Sports. And remember, we don't have balls, but we know how to cover them. Until next time, guys.